Welcome back, scholars, to Warframe Academy. My name is Chili and today's subject is Mastery Rank. Mastery Rank is your account level, and it gates a lot more of the game than you may realise. There are weapons you can't equip, being able to trade at all, and having to take tests. Warframe does very little to explain the system, so today I will be your guide and let's just get straight into it. Your Mastery Rank is basically your account level. It tracks everything you have ever done that dispenses MXP, or Mastery Experience. Leveling Warframes, weapons, companions' weapons, clearing nodes on the star chart, beating junctions. There's a lot of things that generate Mastery Experience, and all of it is super valuable. As of writing this video, the highest possible Mastery rank is actually Legend 6, but that is only accessible to Founders, so realistically it's more like Legend 5 and a bit. For context, the Legend ranks are for people who have reached MR30 and have kept going. Some may call Legend 5 MR35 instead just because that's where it falls sequentially. At this point in time, Mastery Rank 17 is actually the endgame for Warframe Mastery, although there are more reasons to keep leveling, as no other specific content is actually mastery locks at this point, the player having access to all equipment, missions, and mechanics except for one very specific mechanic that a lot of you are probably screaming at your monitor or phone right now, but I will get to that later. All Warframes are totally mastery unlocked from the beginning though, meaning that you can purchase or unlock any Warframe even at MR0 and still be able to use them, which is a really nice choice. However, in place there are some indirect mastery locks for Warframes as follows. At MR2 you have Gara and Garuda, whose bounties cannot be started until MR2. At MR3 you have Citrine and Ureli, because Citrine's node can't be accessed until then, and also Ureli's Wave Rider quest begins at MR3 as well. Dante and Protea at MR4 because both of them require the Deadlock Protocol to be available and subsequently completed. Hydroid, Revenant, Zaku and Inaros, whose bounties or quests are unlocked at MR5, and finally Titania, whose quest is unlocked at MR7. However, all of the above frames except Dante, Citrine, Ureli, Protea and Zaku can have their parts earned through the Deviri circuit, which does bypass their quest or bounty mastery rank lock, but at the cost of being time gated. This also goes for prime frames that can sometimes be considerably easier to farm or much cheaper just to buy through the player market, although there are always frames that haven't been made primed yet. So if you're waiting to save your money or time because you say want Citrine or Dagoth, you may be waiting a while, typically 3 years from its initial release date. So let's talk numbers. If you go to your profile and look at your mastery rank, the game will tell you how much experience you need to level up. But you may ask, Chili, how do I get that number to 0? And please fret no more, as I have all the numbers for every single task you can do early on to earn MXP. And for context, leveling something means taking it from level 0 to 30. Although there are some exceptions that we'll cover very shortly. Leveling a Warframe earns 6000 MXP at 200 MXP per level. Leveling a companion earns 6000 MXP at 200 per level. Leveling a K-Drive, Arcwing, Railjack or Necromech awards 6000 MXP at 200 per level. And anything else that can be leveled up earns 3000 MXP at 100 per level, so things like Zors, kit guns and amps. Mission nodes on specific non-spoiler planets come in at roughly 63 MXP per node, but that is an average, as every planet actually grants different MXP for each first time you have beat a node. And beating a junction awards 1000 MXP per junction. And that actually brings me on to the next part of this subject. MXP is actually only earned the first time you level or beat something. For example, if you get your starter frame to level 30 and then build a new one, you will only get the MXP for the first one that you leveled, and the second one will not affect your account level at all. However, on the contrary, if you were to say, make a prime variant of that Warframe, or buy a prime variant of that Warframe and level that up, that would net you 6000 brand new MXP, because prime frames are technically different frames to the base version. Although again, you could only do that once per prime frame. The same applies to formering or polarizing a Warframe, selling them, subsuming them, or in any other way that you think might delete a Warframe from your account, because the MXP is earned on your account and stays there forever. So now, here's something that may confuse some brand new players, but certain items can actually be over leveled past rank 30. So, in the corner of the modding interface, a weapon or necromech will actually specify that they have access to overleveling, meaning that they can be formed once they reach their soft level cap to earn 2 more extra maximum levels. That also reward MXP per bonus level as long as it matches the type of item that it is. Any item that can be overleveled though maxes out at level 40, meaning that they can only receive 5 extra Forma to increase their maximum level by 10, and can therefore earn 1000 extra MXP per weapon or 2000 MXP per necromech. And just to be clear, that means that the first Forma can be put in at rank 30 to get you to rank 32, and then 34, 36, 38, and then finally 40. At this point in time, and I would assume for the forever future, no actual Warframes can be overleveled, so please don't be worrying about yourself checking them. As a general rule, if something can be overleveled, when it sits at a soft level cap, it will actually display its current rank as a number instead of saying rank max, such as my Tenet Envoy here that says rank 32 instead of rank max. But then subsequently, what something that can be overleveled reaches rank 40, which is its hard level cap, it will then start saying rank max like everything else. Oh, and one very special exception to the above rules is Excalibur Umbra, as upon receiving him, he is already fully leveled, as well as his signature sword, the Skyajati, meaning that you immediately get 9000 MXP just for beating his quest, 0 leveling required. Right, so now you've reached all the mastery required to rank up your account. Let's go over a few notes. Firstly, if you choose to not rank up your account immediately and continue leveling items, that MXP still gets stored in your account. You just will not be able to see it until you rank up again. This does mean it's possible to get enough MXP to hypothetically be many levels worth of MXP above your current MR. However, you'd still need to rank up one level at a time. Speaking of which, let's discuss the mastery rank tests. Yes, so once you have enough MXP to get to the next rank in your base of operations, you will have a new option in your pause menu that is called the mastery rank test, appearing right at the top. And upon selecting that option, the game will prompt you to earn your next rank by completing a small test. This is to make sure that as well as collecting items, you are also learning how to play the game. Sometimes it's defeating a set amount of enemies in a window of time, sometimes it's hacking mini games, sometimes it's absolutely awful dog shit. However, tests are the same for everyone per respective mastery rank, meaning that everyone who reached MR10 all had to do that same mastery test at MR9. And these days, you get infinite tries on any MR test. Back in the day, we got 1 attempt per day, and if you failed it, it actually locked you out of attempting for 24 hours. Please, ask me why going from MR27 to 28 took a week, I beg you. However, you can still only pass 1 MR test per 24 hours, meaning that if you have enough MXP to go from say MR4 to MR9, you will still need to do 5 tests across 5 days. So, let's talk about mastery locking. We spoke about it a little bit earlier with the soft mastery locks, but now it's time to really dive in. Yes, there are many benefits for leveling up your Warframe account, and again, these benefits kind of end in a big way at MR17, but they still have a lot of small benefits that apply to every time you rank up. And then there's a huge reward for ranking MR30 and subsequently each legend rank afterwards. Things like missions, weapons and certain mods, and even player trading is all dependent on your mastery. There's a lot to cover, and I'm going to do it quick fire. Your maximum syndicate standing per day starts at 16,000 and increases by 500 per MR. So 16,500 at MR1, an extra 2,500 at MR5 and so on. Your void traces start at 100 and go up by 50 per rank. Your maximum void focus starts at 250,000 and then increases by 5,000 per rank. The maximum level of enemies in the Simulacrum starts at 30 and then goes up by 5 per rank. Base starting mod capacity for all your gear goes up by 1 per rank. At MR30, everything starts at maximum capacity, meaning that you no longer gain capacity as you level a Warframe. At Mastery Rank 2, you unlock player trading, and your allowed daily trades now matches your Mastery rank. At Mastery Rank 8, you gain access to all the planetary relays for things like events and Barraketeer. At MR8, you also gain access to unlocking the Helminth for your base of operations, and you get access to some Riven mods. At MR10, you can automatically slot Ayatan's stars into sculptures. Wait, really? They master locked this? At MR16, you have access to the full suite of Riven mods. At MR17, there now isn't a single item in the game that is still mastery rank locked, at least for now. At MR30, you can now bring underleveled Warframes into Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, Arbitrations, Archon Hunts and Sorties as long as they have been polarized at least once. That is forward for people who don't know. And at MR30, you can also unlock the True Master Terminal at any relay, allowing you to bestow blessings upon your fellow Tenno once a day. You also get 15 extra loadout slots, 3 Umbra Forma, and a bunch of new cosmetics to reflect your brand new True Master status. Holy shit, that was a lot. Now it's just time for some general tips and trivia. One of the biggest things to remember in Warframe is that when you can, you should always be leveling. There are popular affinity farms like ESO, Hydron, Helene, the Descendia, that provide players a great place to level items quickly without much in the way of niche or gimmick. If you are actively trying to develop your account and further your account level, just remember your ABCs from the Noob Trips episode. Always be crafting. It's also worth reminding you now, at the end of the video, you can only get MXP for something once, despite former purchase or build status. It's also important to remember that MR and even LR do not necessarily indicate a player's skill. For the most part, it does indicate playtime, and how many items that person has leveled, and these things do generally correlate with skill, but I still see newer players complaining that LR players sometimes hang out in lobbies doing very little or struggling with objectives. And even if these critiques may come from jealousy, I'm joking, please put down the pitchforks. And that's it, that's Mastery Rank. Arguably one of the most important systems in the game that Warframe could explain a lot better in game. But hopefully I've cleared up any questions you have. As always, if you have a Patreon, I'd love to see you over there. It helps me pay my amazing artist QQ. As always, linked in the description. Thank you to Dydra and Default Account for your continued paid membership, as well as all the members on the right. Stay tuned for next Wednesday, where I will be covering the speed demon himself, Vault. Bye for now, scholars. Until next time.